Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking a look at, as you can see on your screen here, Power Stone 2 on the Sega Naomi. Now, this video actually ended up as I'm testing my my Power Stone 2 board because I had bought one that legitimately didn't work first, and I wasn't sure which one was the one that didn't work, but I eventually went through the whole game and kind of played a whole gameplay of this game, so I figured at this point I might as well release it as an arcade video. But I just want to give you a quick look at the actual test mode here. Now, of course, your input test is standard stuff, your directions, your shot 1, shot 2, and shot 3, and of course, start and service buttons. And then shot 1 and service are getting out of the menu, which is actually back on my 360 controller. I'm sorry, start and shot 1 are getting out of the service, but here we can go to game configuration. I left everything as default. Your stereo sound is on, your difficulty level is 4, damage level is 2, and everything else looks standard. The only thing I really tweaked here was when you went into password here, you enter the 2 passwords that'll release your items to level 7 and release the additional Pride character, who I'm guessing is related to Falcon because he kind of looks like an old version of Falcon, but that's going to be all for that. It'll say password no good. But you can see here we have our Naomi with the Power Stone 2 cartridge. And in fact, I bought this with the Power Stone 1 cartridge, and somebody actually had written with the Sharpie marker Power Stone. And then, of course, my OpenJVS arcade cabinet is right here. And then I'm just using this Xbox 360 controller as my controller. But let me go ahead and get out of our test mode here, and then we're just going to go ahead and get right into our game and play some Power Stone 2. Now, one thing I will mention is over here in coin assignments, 2 coins, 1 credit is default for both Power Stone and Power Stone 2. So if you're like me and you do free play, you have to go in there and fix that. But let me go ahead and get out of this, and we're going to get right into some Power Stone 2. And in playing this gameplay that you're going to see, this was actually my first time fully getting through this game. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this. And of course, when the game starts up there, you see game loading in 31K, which means it's running in like 640 by 480 VGA resolution, which of course looks a lot better than your low resolution 15 kilohertz mode that old arcade screens would use. As you can see, Pride is unlocked because I entered those operator codes, but I'm going to go ahead and use Ayame because I tend to be a bit better with her. One thing I definitely have to say is I love the presentation of this game. Everything just looks so cool. And what I will have to do at some point is I will have to show some more of this game, because as you can see, there were 5 different stages.
Don't miss the elevator, or else you'll be sorry.
Let the battle begin.
And that's one thing I definitely have to say that it goes without saying is this game looks great. It's running on the Naomi hardware, the original Naomi, not the Naomi 2. It just has a really good look to it. Everything is nice and sharp, everything is vibrant, all the colors for all the characters and the stages are nice and fleshed out. But one thing I will say that if you never played this before, you probably know this already, this game is absolutely crazy. So when you're playing Power Stone, or Power Stone 2 for that matter, it's just really, really, really chaotic, especially in this game, which the first game had only 2 players, and then the second game had 4 players. And the funny thing is the announcer says, don't miss the elevator, and everybody missed the elevator. But, yeah, one thing I will say
that I actually just found out a couple minutes ago before recording this commentary. In the Japanese version, and the Japanese version only, in the adventure mode, you can actually craft items, and not only just craft those, because you could craft the items in the USA or European releases, but in the Japanese version, there actually is an interactivity between the console and the arcade version. So what you could actually do is bring those items into the arcade version if you connected your VMU to a compatible cabinet. And of course, if the operator had selected the VMS pack setup in the test mode, which you wouldn't have seen in my test mode because my Naomi is running in USA mode. But the nice part about this, similar to how Neo Geo cartridges work, the only thing that determines the actual region of the game and the language of the game is your BIOS. So all I would have to do is pop the Power Stone 2 cartridge onto my Naomi 2 and switch the arcade mod BIOS into Japan mode, and then it would have that ability. And I think that's really cool that one character, she just sits down and all of a sudden the whole ground like turns into grassy field.
What's going on here? I have a very bad feeling about this place. You better stay alert.
行きます。
準備 OK?
可愛がってあげる。
Let the battle begin.
Okay, and the only reason I was quiet there is because if the announcer's saying something there, I just don't want to drown him out. But as I was saying, if you ran the Japanese version and you were able to link to an applicable arcade cabinet, you could actually bring your Power Stone items, Power Stone 2 items, into the arcade version. So if you had some of those custom crafted items from the adventure mode, you could then use them in the arcade version. And I had actually checked with Google, and like there's legitimately like 120 console unique items that you could bring into the arcade version, but as I said, only in the Japanese version if the cabinet had the compatible VMS slots set up, which, as I said, at some point I'm going to need to have to explore that, because I do have the little daughter board that I can slide over the pins and connect Dreamcast controllers and use the VMS compatibility. But for now, we're just doing a regular gameplay, because at this point in my life, in the year of 2026, I had not actually fully gotten through Power Stone, and I could remember when I was doing the boss battle at the end, I actually had to check Google and see how you defeat the boss. Like, you had to beat his face up, and then his heart would come out, and then you could destroy him a bit more. But short and the long of it is, the arcade version here came out in April of 2000 worldwide. And then that same month, the Japanese version came out on April 27th, which would explain the VMS interactivity, because more or less, the arcade version and the home version in Japan were out around the same time. So they were like, oh, well, this cool arcade game came out, so bring your Dreamcast VMUs to the arcade, and now you can bring all your custom stuff you got on Dreamcast to the arcade to give yourself the competitive edge. But we would have to wait until August 23rd of 2000 and August 24th of 2000 for the North American and European releases, and then apparently there was a UK release on September 15th as well. The game only ever got another release as the PlayStation Portable Power Stone Collection, October 20th in Europe. Then there was October 25th in Australia, which is like Australia and a couple of surrounding countries. October 31st in North America, and then November 30th in Japan. So, and that was in 2006, if I'd not mentioned that before. But that's the only other version of Power Stone that was released other than the Dreamcast version, sadly.
Now, your journey has only just begun. What a massive unstoppable, aim for its head.
あたいは強いよ。
Let the battle begin.
And now, if you're wondering here why the characters change, there was not a single battle except for the first one that I hadn't lost at least once. So you'll notice that even if it's a character and my character who end up surviving at the end of the battle, it turns out it's going to be different characters. Well, it's going to just be my character running in the portal. Because even if it's one of those stages where another character joins you, when you continue, only your character is running through the thing, because I think the AI generates a new character each time you continue. Although I've had a few times where it's the same character, like the first stage transition, where it's that girl in the yellow dress. That's why I kept that in, because it just happened to be the same character. And this is one of those bosses that I honestly never played too much multiplayer other than like versus mode with friends, so I never actually got through this boss as well. But I kind of got to the point where I realized the strategy here was to beat up his two front legs and knock them down, and then eventually you can just pound on his head, which then ends up making him easier to hit. But the one thing I will make mention of here is after I did this gameplay, I actually went back and popped the Power Stone 1 cartridge into my Naomi. And now that I'm looking down at my Naomi while I'm recording this commentary, yes, the cartridge is still sitting in the system, and eventually I will be releasing a video of that. But the one thing I definitely will have to say is, it seems like, I don't know if the AI is just more aggressive, but in the original Power Stone, it seems like the AI really beats you up, but it's probably because the system doesn't have to drive like 3 other characters that are fighting you, so it can focus more on complex AI for one character. And that's one thing I really hate that this Sphinx guy does, is that tongue thing. You have to really try your best to avoid it, because that hurts you quite a bit. And the funny part is, when that happened, I didn't expect the boss to die. I was thinking we were going to have to beat up his head a little bit more. But yeah, he just happened to die when I was beating up his leg. And that's one thing I think is cool, is the multi-tiered environments in this game.
End is almost at hand. Never give up. What's going on here? You'd better watch out for traps.
あたいは強いよ。
おう久しぶりじゃな。わしの邪魔をするから。
ワクワクワクワク。
Let the battle begin. Go!
And as I was saying, the multi-tiered environments are really good because you can like jump up on these little things here, and then you can go up and down and jump on things. It reminds me of a game that I played a while ago, which was Air Gates. It had multi-tiered environments as well, and of course Dead or Alive eventually would bring those into plain old regular fighting games. This is more of like a party game, if you will. More of like a Smash Brothers-esque type game. But the other thing I really like is that you get a choice of what stage you want to go to. So if, for instance, like that stage with the... There are so many stages that you haven't seen. But yeah, as I was saying before, I will most certainly make some arcade videos of Power Stone once I get through that, the original game. But it just seems like since the game has more focus on the AI, it can beat you up a lot easier. So it's going to take me a little while longer to get through that game. And if you didn't notice, it was actually yesterday at the time of this posting that I made playlists on the channel for Naomi and Naomi 2 games. So if you're one of those people and you want to just see all the videos I made of Naomi games, or just Naomi 2 games, you can see those now. I figured since I had a video for just Hikaru, a playlist just for Hikaru videos, I would make one for these 2 systems as well, since I knew that I had made multiple videos. And if you didn't notice, Pride is in the 2-player position. He's the unlocked character, which I think he would eventually be time unlocked if you didn't do anything. But he's how do you call it? He's unlocked by an operator code too, so if you didn't want your players to wait, or if you're running this game for a, what do you call it, like a competition or something, you can have everything unlocked from the get-go, which is what I did. I unlocked the level 7 items and unlocked Pride, so everything would be fully working in this game, and you could see everything the game has to offer. And it looks like he had been defeated a little while ago. Oh, and if you're wondering why the character says help over their head, it actually means that you could walk up to them, give them part of your life, and they come back. Which, I actually stupidly did that one time during the boss battle, which you won't see in this gameplay because a different version of me fighting the boss battle is there. But I didn't realize it took part of your health when you did that. And of course, this one you have no option but the boss stage.
It's all or nothing now. Good luck. It's do or die time. Destroy the monster and get out of the castle.
Let the battle begin. Go!
And now this is one of those boss battles that kind of is annoying in a way that you have to go through the stage and then beat the boss. It's not like these guys are all that difficult, but it's still kind of one of those, I just want to get back to the boss and beat him up and beat the game type times, where you don't want to have to, deal with all the little, like, lemmings here who are just gonna slash you a little bit and just be a nuisance. You just not have to deal with all his henchmen. But that's one thing that was a little bit annoying, since I think I repeated this boss battle like 2 or 3 times, and every time you have to do exactly what you're seeing here and defeat the little henchmen. But yeah, definitely have to say this is a pretty cool boss battle. The as I had mentioned earlier, the strategy is you had to keep hitting him in the head, like double jumping and then hitting him in the head, and eventually his heart would come out, and then you could do a lot of damage if you hit his heart a lot, and that'll eventually defeat him. But otherwise, he seemed like he took like no damage at all until I figured that strategy out. And what I'm gonna have to eventually do is play a bit more Power Stone 2 on the home version, because that would be really cool, especially if I could get some of that Japanese arcade linking done. But yeah, that'll just have to be something I do in another video eventually, to show you what the interaction between the home and arcade version, because there's a lot of those in Japanese arcades. I think Marvel vs. Capcom 2 does it, Street Fighter 03 does it, upper. Let me think. Yeah, there's a few of them that actually have that interactivity between them. Project Justice, the Japanese version, does it. There's a lot of games where basically something you do in the home version will carry over to the arcade version. Some of them being to a lesser extent, but eventually I'm going to have to show off a few more of those.
You've reached the last.
Okay, now as I said, the way that you defeat him is, as you can see me here, I'm already starting to pound him in the head. You have to hit him in the head as much as you possibly can, which will cause him to fall over, and yeah, there it goes. He fell over. Now his heart pops out, and that's when you can truly deal a lot of damage, is when you're hitting him in the heart. Because if you only hit him in the head, you'll notice it doesn't really do all that much damage to him. It only does a little. And when he's drinking there, don't try to hit him, because he's actually immune to damage at that very moment. So this might actually be the gameplay where I actually revive the AI, because I noticed the AI is not doing so good as Rogue or Rouge or whatever her name is here. So this could be that gameplay where I did that. And of course, they did a quick port of this to the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Which, a lot of times, yeah, this was the gameplay where I actually revived the AI. I just noticed that, yeah, there he's drinking again, so he's actually immune to damage. But what I was going to say is, this was released in 2025 as part of the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. But I typically don't count versions like that, because all it really is the arcade ROM being emulated on a home console, and it really doesn't feel like a properly thought out port. It's kind of just one of those, oh, well, here's a home version of this game, now you can play it again. But yeah, I was very glad to finally get through this. And now I can remember when I saw the whole running through the portal thing, and the characters both running through it. I was thinking, don't tell me there's going to be like a penultimate battle that's going to be after this, because that's what it kind of made me think. But as far as the home version goes, there's a couple of different gameplay modes where you have your one-on-one, like the original Power Stone, your arcade, which of course would be seen here, your original, which is the multiplayer mode with your free choice of characters and stages, and then the adventure mode, which I'd mentioned earlier, where you can collect and customize the items, and in the Japanese version you can actually bring those into the arcade mode, the arcade game. And as it's saying here on Wikipedia, it's an unpredictable storyline game where players can collect items, cards, and money. But definitely, Power Stone 2 is a really good game. If you can play it on Dreamcast, that's great. If you can play it on that Capcom Arcade Collection 2, then that's good too. And if you have it for your Naomi arcade system like I do, then, you know, sure, why not? But definitely a great game that everyone should play. Even on your PlayStation Portable, I would imagine it's probably a really good experience nonetheless.
Game over.
And now here's I can rank in. Apparently my gameplay got to number 2 in the rankings. But, as I said, Power Stone 2 is a great game that everyone should play regardless of how you're able to play it. And I would highly recommend this game for just about anybody who likes fighting games or party games or action games. It's definitely a great game. Well, this has been another Game Nexus arcade video, and I shall see you later. Bye.